Hello everyone, welcome to the comparison video of Sony A7C II versus ZVE1. If you're looking for a new camera but cannot decide between the two, this video is for you. While the ZVE1 is primarily a video camera and the A7C II is a hybrid camera designed for both photography and videography, it can still be challenging to decide which one is right for you. In this video, we'll take an in-depth look at the features of both cameras, including photo capacity, video capacity, slow motion, HD video quality, APS-C capacity, and much more. Feel free to jump to the section which you are interested in. For the first comparison, I want you to take a close look at these images and guess which photo is shot with which camera. Did you guess it correctly? I think the difference is really marginal even when I zoomed in to 200%. I do see the difference from photo number 4. I noticed more details in the photo from the A7C II, while there is just a slightly blurry mess in the photo from the ZVE1. For the two low-light photos, I don't see any difference in terms of noise, but again, I do find more details from the A7C photo when it is zoomed in. Anyway, I don't think there's much to worry about the photo capacity of ZVE1. Most of the time, the images look just the same, unless you are going to print out the photo at a large scale. But I want to remind you, do not put an APS-C lens on the ZVE1 for photos. APS-C lenses for videos on ZVE1 is fine, but not photos. As you can see in this example, I took these two photos in APS-C mode, and the ZVE1 has really low resolution. Let's also take a look at video quality at 4K 24 FPS. This was shot with picture profile off. To be honest, I don't see any difference regarding noise, color, or other aspects. But with 4K 60p footages, you can immediately see the different framing. The ZVE1 can still shoot in full-frame sensor, while the A7C II, just like the A7 IV, will be in APS-C mode at 60 frames per second. So you might want to use a wider lens in order to get the same composition. But if you already have a lot of APS-C lenses, then I would say this is a plus for you, because as you can see, the cropped footage also have pretty good quality. Let's also compare the 120 FPS footages. After the firmware update, the ZVE1 can shoot 120p in 4K with only 10% crop, so you can capture incredible slow motion videos like this. On the other hand, the A7C II does not support 4K 120p at all. You can only shoot 120p in HD, which looks right on its own, but when you look at the side-by-side comparison with the 4K 120p video from ZVE1, the difference is obvious. And now if we compare both cameras in HD, I think the performance is similar. For a low-light comparison between these two cameras, I have already made another video, so please click the link in the description box for the complete comparison. Here I just want to mention a few interesting things. First, these two cameras have their own two base ISOs in S-Log3. A7C II is supposed to be 800 and 3200, and the ZVE1 at 640 and 12800. But for some reason, I don't see any quality improvement at the second base ISO of 3200 from A7C II. So I'm not really sure whether this camera really inherited this from the A7 IV. The second thing is, from about ISO 5000 to 10,000, A7C II has better low light performance than the ZVE1. And only until 12800 and above, the ZVE1 shows less noise. I also want to show you another low light test. I set both cameras at 4K 60p, and as you know, the A7C II will be in crop mode, so I chose a different focal length for the ZVE1 in order to achieve the same composition. And here's the result. I think both cameras have very similar performance. I can't really tell which one is cleaner, but again, at the second base ISO of ZVE1, which is 12800, it suddenly cleans up. It is without a doubt that the ZVE1 wins over A7C II when it comes to stabilization, despite the fact that A7C II has 7 stops of IBIS. The dynamic active steady shot on the ZVE1 makes it perfect for walking shots. It gives you gimbal-like movement, and I think it is the best stabilization in the Sony system. For the complete stabilization test, go to the link in the description box down below. The ZVE1 also has better rolling shutter than the A7C II. So if you have the need to shoot fast-moving objects, or for some reason you need to shake the camera very fast, the ZVE1 is a better choice. How do these two cameras perform with APS-C lenses? I would say for video, both can handle very well. If we are using 4K 60p on the A7C II, it will already be in crop mode, so it doesn't really affect the quality compared to when you use a full-frame lens. And for the ZVE1, some people say it doesn't support APS-C mode in 4K. Well, yes and no. Although the APS-C function is not available, you can always use dynamic active steady shot to crop away the vignetting. But again, for photos, the ZVE1 is absolutely not great with APS-C lenses. Now let's talk about some other factors that might affect your decision when choosing between these two cameras. The A7C II, being a hybrid camera, has a viewfinder, which might be more helpful when you're shooting under bright sunlight. It also has both mechanical shutter and electronic shutter, so you can avoid bending or rolling shutter when taking photos of fast-moving objects. But honestly, I don't think the EVF and the shutter type should affect your decision. Let's also look at their common features. Both cameras have auto-framing, customizable LUTs, new menu, improved AI processing, and more focus recognition targets. Even the build and size are very similar, with the ZVE1 weighing 30 grams lighter than the A7C II. Personally, I think this should be the deciding factors when choosing between these two cameras. The A7C II has a 33 megapixel sensor, so you have more room to crop for better composition in post-processing, or you can use APS-C lenses without worrying about low resolution. The ZVE1 is more powerful in extreme low light environment. You can take advantage of its second base ISO at 12800, while the A7C II has better performance in normal low light environment. For slow motion and stabilization, the ZVE1 also wins. You can capture 5 times slow motion in 4K with only 10% crop and 2.5 times slow motion in full frame. And the dynamic active steady shot also allows you to create gimbal-like footage while walking. I think in the future, the A7C II will be my primary camera. First of all, I take both videos and photos. Second, I like to use apsc lenses for lightweight setup. Third, I probably don't need that many walking shots or extreme low light shot, so the A7C II sounds like a more reasonable choice to me. Let me know how you think in the comment area below. I hope you find this video helpful, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.